Namaskar or Johar. I am honored to stand before you as a yoga practitioner gathered here today in our gathered here. Thanks to the collaboration between IIT Ranchi, Jharkhand Neuroscience Society, and Rock Clean Healthcare to celebrate the essence of holistic healthcare. Yoga, an ancient practice that has been passed down through generations, has profoundly changed lives worldwide, including mine. Through yoga, we find balance, harmony, and strength within ourselves. अब हम महामहिम राज्यपाल श्री सी राधाकृष्णन जी का स्वागत करते हैं। Now, I would like to call upon the dignitaries, Guruji Shri H.R. Nagendraji, Dr. N. Ganesh Rauji, Swami Bhaveshanand ji, Dr. Sanjay Kumar ji, Dr. Shekhar Chaudhary Kajal ji, and Shri Amit Kumar ji. Now, I would like to ask every one of you to stand for national anthem.
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उत्सव जगति तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाये तब जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 जय
भारत माता की जय। Now, अब हम लोग कोई शुभ कार्य का शुरुआत लैंप लाइटिंग से शुरू करते हैं। सो हम आप सभी से तैयार हैं, आप स्टेज पर आए।
ॐ निस्सङ्गनो मित्र संवरुणः शन्नो भवत्वर्यमा शन्नो इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वाय त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वामेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्भक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु भक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ओम् पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ओम् तत्सत्।
Now, I would like to ask Dr. Sanjay Kumarji to felicitate our honorable governor. Now, I would like to ask Amit Kumarji to felicitate Dr. H.R. Nagendra. Dr. Shekhar Kajal ji to felicitate Dr. N. Ganesh Raj. अब हम आशीर्वचन के लिए हमारे स्वामी भावेशानंद जी को मंच पर बुलाना चाहते हैं।
तीन बार एक साथ में ओंकार कंपनी करते हैं। सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् सब इंसान सुखी हो सब इंसान निरामय हो सबका सोच विचार अच्छा हो किसी को दुख या तकलीफ ना हो ये हमारा प्रार्थना है। आज हम लोग इंडियन योगा एसोसिएशन भारत सरकार के साथ वापी हेल्थ केयर एंड भारत न्यूरो साइंस एसोसिएशन का सहयोग से इंडियन मेडिकल एसोसिएशन का सहयोग में जो सेमिनार का आयोजन किया है इसका विषय योगा होलिस्टिक हेल्थ केयर। अतः इस सभा के मुख्य अतिथि झारखंड के अनुसंधानीय गवर्नर श्री सी पी राधाकृष्णन जी, पद्मश्री डॉक्टर पी आर नरेंद्र जी, जो फाउंडर एंड प्रेजेंट चांसलर ऑफ स्वामी विवेकानंद योगा अनुसंधान संस्थान बैंगलोर, तो स्वामी जी का नाम है और उसका पहला योगा यूनिवर्सिटी किया है। साथ डॉक्टर एच गणेश गांधी की एडवाइजर academic training Kolkata Lonavala, Secretary Sanjay Kumar ji, Dr. Sanjay Kumar ji, Secretary Dharma Neuro Science Society, Dr. Amit Kumar ji, Secretary Indian Yoga Association, सामने उपस्थित सभी गणमान्य अतिथिगण, honorable doctors, सब लोग साधक साधिका और आज के सभा में ऑर्गेनाइजिंग मेंबर्स सबको मैं हार्दिक स्वागत करता हूँ, झारखंड भी जोहार करता हूँ, नमस्कार करता हूँ। तो आज का जो विषय है हम लोग का योगा एक होलिस्टिक हेल्थ केयर। हम लोग जानते हैं योग जो भारत वर्ष कौन से हुआ उसमें मानवाधिकार से जो भव्य प्रतिनिधि हो रहा है। तो इसी पतंजलि जो लगभग 2500 साल पहले इसको संकलन किया कि हम लोग पतंजलि योग सूत्र नाम में बोलते हैं। भारत वर्ष में जो भी ऋषि लोग जो भी थे सब चीजें को होलिस्टिक वे में हार्मोनियस वे में इनका मतलब सर्वमय का संपूर्णता सबको लेकर चलने का तो साधारण दृष्टि तत्वों को योग में भी एक ही हम देखते हैं। अगर वो सब बड़े भारत में मोदी इसलिए सोच पाया औषधि रोग को मतलब भारत पूरा दुनिया का जितना सब रिलेशन है एक कमी समूह है जब हम लोग रियलाइज करेंगे कि हमारा अंदर ईश्वर है परमात्मा है वो परमात्मा सबका अंदर ही है। एक यूनिटी फिजिकल लेवल में संभव नहीं है, मेंटल लेवल में संभव नहीं है, यूनिटी परमात्मिक लेवल में। हम योगा का लोकसर थे हम लोग दीवार का तो रिलेटिव पर्सनालिटी ये हमारे पर्सनालिटी इसको साथ हम लोग जो रियल पर्सनालिटी ये परमात्मा उसको साथ जोड़ना उसमें यूनियन ये योगा अल्टीमेट गोल है, मूल गोल है। इसको हम लोग साधन के लिए हम लोग का शास्त्र बहुत अच्छा पंचों को साधन में बताया अन्नमय, प्राणमय, मनोमय, विज्ञानमय और आनंदमय। ह्यूमन का हेल्थ टाइप लेवल में देखता है अन्नमय फिजिकल लेवल में तो हम योग में डिवाइन पोस्टर के माध्यम से आसन के माध्यम से हम लोग बॉडी को स्वस्थ रखने की कोशिश करते हैं। स्वस्थ मीन्स स्थिति तो आत्मा में तो स्थिति रहता है आपका सब कुछ स्थिति में मदद करता है तो हमारे स्वस्थ होते हैं। हम लोग जो स्वस्थ ये अक्सर आपके योगा का फिजिकल लेवल में तो फिजिकल फिटनेस प्रॉब्लम से जब होता है और साथ ही साथ नेक्स्ट होते एनर्जी लेवल हम लोग प्राणायाम प्राण का आयाम प्राण का संयम ये प्राण का संयम है डिफाइन करो अनुलोम विलोम आदि डिफाइन है इसका जो ऑब्जेक्टिव यही है हम प्राण को सम्मिलित करना प्राण वायु जब हम सम्मिलित करेंगे तो हमारा प्राण इंडिविजुअल प्राण क्योंकि यूनाइटेड विद कॉस्मिक प्राण प्राणायाम का ऑब्जेक्टिव है हमारा प्राण को इंडिविजुअल प्राण को वैश्विक प्राण कॉस्मिक प्राण के साथ ये लोग करना आप लेवल माइंड लेवल मन संयम के द्वारा मनो एवो मनुष्यानम कारणम बंध मोक्ष मानी अधिका बंधन के कारण दुख के कारण मानी अधिका मुक्ति के कारण मोक्ष का कारण इस मन को जो हम कामना वासना से हटाएंगे कामना वासना मुक्त करेंगे सर्व रिपु काम क्रोध लोभ मोह मद आश्चर्य आदि का मतलब से मुक्त करेंगे तो हमारा मन जितना शुद्ध हो जाएगा एक शुद्ध मन हमारा कॉस्मिक माइंड के साथ ये हो जाएगा। इसके लिए कंसंट्रेशन पतंजलि आसन में जो है योग आसन प्राणायाम प्रत्याहार धारणा ध्यान समाधि धारणा ध्यान समाधि में कंसंट्रेशन समाधि ये लेवल का मतलब मन का माध्यम से होता है। ये भी हम लोग मान का जो मान का रूप तरीका प्रोग्राम हम लोग देखते हैं समाज में मैं साइकिल डॉक्टर हो गया तो बहुत आदमी साइकिल बीमारी हो रहा है तो देखते हैं अभी उन्नत देश जापान में यूनाइटेड किंगडम में तो मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ लोनलीनेस है बात है और दुनिया में सब चीज रहते हुए भी वो शांति में है कितना भी बहुत रहा है भारत में भी सबका दिन दिन जारी रहा है तो बहुत बड़ा कारण इसका मतलब है कि मन का संतुलित नहीं करना मन का संयम नहीं करना मन का एकाग्र नहीं करना कंट्रोल माइंड विदाउट सेंस अनकंट्रोल माइंड विदाउट एनिंग हमारा मन ही हमारा नित्य होता है जो नियंत्रित मन है अनियंत्रित मन हमारा उसको होता है गाड़ी मान लो गाड़ी खरीदा है गाड़ी का ब्रेक हमारा अच्छा नहीं है गाड़ी हमारा मौत के कारण होता है तो स्वास्थ्य अच्छा है एजुकेटेड है करोड़ों रुपए कमा रहा हूँ मन नियंत्रित नहीं है गाड़ी कहता है टेंशन है स्ट्रेस है तो ये हमारा सुसाइड का कारण है मौत का कारण है दुख का कारण है मन ये वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है कि मन के हम लोग योग के माध्यम से नियंत्रण कर सकते हैं। हाँ, हम लोग कोई योगासन करते हैं, योगासन में तीन चीज, फिजिकल, एनर्जी लेवल, प्राण और माइंड, तीनों का जब योग करें, कोई तो कोई हलासन कर रहा है, कि कोई सावधान कर रहा है, तो आसन का जो पोस्चर हो रहा है उसके साथ साथ वो पॉइंट के लिए अपन आसन का वो पॉइंट में मान के करना होना चाहिए। साथ श्वास भी जो लेता है, इनहेलेशन और एक्सहेलेशन, स्थिति का अवसर, ये भी तीनों जो एक साथ होता है, योग तो भी होता है, फिजिकल के साथ प्राण साथ मन, तीनों में जोड़ता है तो भी योग होता है, तो भी आसन का एफिशिएंसी भी बहुत बढ़ता है। तो भुजंगासन किया तो कमर के दर्द, क्योंकि भुजंगासन करने के कोई का इफेक्ट नहीं होगा। भुजंगासन से मान लो स्पाइन में कोई मतलब नीचे में अगर दर्द रहेगा, साथ साथ हम श्वास भी लेते रहेंगे, ये नहीं होगा, आपको सब तीनों एक साथ होगा तो एफिशिएंसी खूब बढ़ेगा। टाइम मतलब इंटेलेक्ट बुद्धि, गीता में भगवान कहते हैं ददामि बुद्धि योगम काम येनो माम उपयान्ति, ना बुद्धि जो प्रदान करता हो, तो हम किसको तेषां सतो युक्तानां अनुदात बुद्धि की होगा। तो हर एक समय मेरा सवाल मनो मेरा चिंतन करता है, तो बुद्धि के द्वारा तीन चीज होता है, एक तो डिस्क्रिमिनेटिंग फैक्टर, कौन सा चीज अच्छा है, कौन सा चीज बुरा है, ये विचार है। दोनों बहुत समय जानता है कौन सा चीज अच्छा है, कौन सा बुरा है, अच्छा चीज नहीं कर सकता, खराब चीज नहीं छोड़ सकता। जैसे दुर्लभ है, ज्ञानम ही धर्म मात्र में प्रवृत्ति, ज्ञानम ही अधर्म मात्र में निवृत्ति। धर्म क्या जनता सबके बराबर का लिखा है, सिगरेट स्मोकिंग इंजस्ट टू हेल्थ, तो और को तीनों बराबर का लिखा है, खराब है, अवगति दिया हुआ है। जानने के बावजूद भी जाके किसी खराब को नहीं जानता, जानने के बावजूद भी हमें करते हैं तो रूल पार सच कहता हूँ कि लोगों के डिस्क्रिमिनेटिंग फैक्टर दोनों बच्चे रूल पार और साथ सिर्फ कॉन्शियसनेस, मैं देव नहीं हूँ, मौन नहीं, आत्मा हूँ, मेरा अनंत शक्ति है। तो स्वामी विवेकानंद जी बताए, आप faith on yourself all power is in you, be conscious and bring it out। हमारे अनंत शक्ति है, इसका अंदर जितना हम सचेतन होंगे, जितना हम जागरूक बनेंगे, उतना हमारा आत्मविश्वास बढ़ेगा। ये जो जानना होगा पास्ट में लेवल पे इनर सेल्फ लेवल, यहाँ पे मतलब विश्वास भाव, प्रेम भाव एवं आत्म सचेतन शक्ति का जीवात्मा, ये पांचों लेवल का जो हार्मोनियस ग्रोथ होगा, हार्मोनियस डेवलपमेंट होगा, तभी हमारा जीवन सर्वांग सुंदर जीवन होगा, तभी हमारा लाइफस्टाइल अच्छा होगा, तभी हमारा जीवन समाज के लिए, देश के लिए, पूरा मानव जाति के लिए फायदेमंद होगा। मैं इसका बोल नहीं बोलूंगा, मेरा लाइफ में आदर्श भोजन सिखायो भोजन सिखायो, एक हम लोग का जो का मूल डिफाइन होलिस्टिक डेवलपमेंट अभी है। साथ ही साथ एक जो एस्पेक्ट है सोशल डेवलपमेंट, सामाजिक समता, सामाजिक समानता की वो मदद करता है। पातंजलि योग में बताया करुणा, मैत्री, मुदिता, उपेक्षा। करुणा दूसरा ग्रुप में, दूसरा कास्ट में करना चाहता होता है तो पेशेंट का ऐसे फील हो गया, और फील तो हम लोग कारण हमारा पूरा हो जाएगा, कारण तो आगे नहीं आनंद होगा, आनंद इंस्पिरेशन मिलेगा। मैत्री सबके साथ फ्रेंडली एटीट्यूड, फ्रेंडली बिहेवियर। मुदिता दूसरा का खुश में, दूसरा का आनंद में खुश भी आनंदित होगा, सुखी होगा, और कार्यों में खूब आदमी रहता है, अच्छा बोलने से सुनेगा नहीं, तो उसे दूर में रहना है, भगवान से ईश्वर से उनका प्रोग्राम करता रहना है। उपेक्षा, करुणा, मैत्री, मुदिता, उपेक्षा, ये चारों चीजें अगर हम समाज में मतलब पालन करेंगे तो सोशल हार्मनी होगा। तो ऐसा करके हम डेवलप करेंगे जो हम लोग का व्यक्तिगत जीवन, पारिवारिक जीवन, सामाजिक जीवन, राष्ट्रीय जीवन, तो उसको पूरा मानव सभ्यता का जीवन में समन्वय लाएगा। जो भारतवर्ष का जो स्वामी विवेकानंद जो हमारे देश में प्रचार प्रसार किए थे, अभी वर्तमान भारत सरकार जो को राष्ट्रीय नीति में लिया है, हम लोग इसमें देखा इसका ईवन से लगभग भारत पूरा दुनिया को हम लोग मार्गदर्शन करा है। दुनिया का जो बहुत बड़ा है, इस माध्यम से समाज में हर एक किस्म का समस्या का हम समाधान कर सकते हैं। योगा और सबके लिए योगा है, वो ध्यान है। आज हम लोग इतना अच्छा सभा कार्यक्रम के इतना अच्छा नियम है, मैं तो उम्मीद है वो भी आपको अपना ये दिक्कत है सब मान्य राज्यपाल महोदय जी बहुत मेहनत कर रहे हैं, बहुत अलग जगह में जा रहा है, उनका नेतृत्व मार्गदर्शन में हम लोग सब के सामने का अपील की है। जब से यौगिक धर्म जो तीन होता है, जैविक धर्म, ऑर्गेनिक धर्म, यौगिक धर्म नैतिक झारखंड, तीन होने पर अब मतलब झारखंड पूरा भारत मतलब दुनिया में नाम रोशन कर सकता है। आस्था एवं आगमन शुभाय होतो, आस्था शुरू अच्छा हो, आस्था उद्देश्य सक्सेस हो, आपका प्रेरणा आ जाए, आपका जोश आ जाए, अच्छा करके अपना जीवन का अच्छा बना सकता है, समाज का अच्छा बना सकता है। तो मौका दिया है, सुने, धन्यवाद, नमस्कार।
Thank you so much, Swamiji, for blessing us with your words. It's my turn to invite Dr. Sanjay Kumarji, who is the Secretary of Neuroscience Society of Jharkhand, for the stage.
Namaskar, respected Honorable Governor Shri Radhakrishnan Ji, Padma Shri Dr. H.R. Narendra, Dr. N. Ganesh Rao, Swamiji, Dr. Kajal, Honorable President, and Swami Kumar, the Secretary of Indian Yoga Association. When we conceived this program, a lot of people were wondering what is this neurosurgeon doing here? And I think everybody does some introspection and wants to see that light. It's the search, it's the pursuit of that particular light. We have been operating so many patients, cutting brains and spines, treating so many brain patients. But there's something which is lacking. The entire world is trying to find out that what is that. And I'm sure India which is going to be the solution to the entire world. I'm interacting with Dr. Narendra, and I was trying to express our words. What is troubling us? Patient recovering from stroke probably has limited improvement in therapy, doesn't improve. The whole family, each particular person goes into depression. The family is suffering. The society is suffering. The burden of stroke is increasing day by day, in India especially. Then I saw a ray of hope that we have something which is something like Amrit, which is not able to be, is not accessible to everybody. This is probably the time when we need to bring up that among the masses and let this Amrit be shared by everybody. What would that be? When you listen to this word Amrit, there's something which we should aspire for. But it's not that very easy. We all always have been trying to see pharmacy as an industry, medicine, and medicine means a lot of medicines. But I think medicine is not health. Health has to be a complete solution. And the most important thing is preventive health, which probably has taken a back seat in this market era of medicine, and medicine. Yes, here we all are talking about and running after curative health, therapeutic health, and stopping at a particular corner and not beyond it. Government of India has come up with a lot of programs, but the question is, these things need to come up with papers and go to the masses. I'm very happy in the last few months, we have seen our governors have been visiting to the remote corners of the villages where probably nobody has visited till now. The administration is not gone there. This is a ray of hope. We can probably get these government schemes to those particular remote areas, because I think preventive health is more important for the rural population, because this rural population is not able to afford the curative health. This is the biggest problem. Till now, we have been asking the multi-purpose village worker, the Saiyas, what we call in Jharkhand, they have a thermometer and a folic acid tablets and iron goli. That's it. I think things have changed. We have gone into the digital era. But why is the rural population not getting that benefit? I urged upon the government to give them a glucometer and a PP machine. All these Saiyas should be given these two machines. India is emerging as the biggest deadly capital. It's already a diabetes capital. It's going to be a hypertension capital. And diabetes and hypertension are two diseases which together is not two diseases. Together becomes 22 diseases. This is a deadly killer. And who is being affected? The young population is now affected by the stroke, brain stroke and heart stroke. Earlier it used to be said that everybody elderly age. Now what is elderly age? Every age that has got huge stress. We acquire stress. Our pursuit is unending, we acquire stress. And then people say, what do you do? When patients come to us in a chamber, I said, I have started, you do yoga exercises. Patient goes out, the doctor has told me to do yoga exercises, how do I do it? They go to YouTube, they go to various methods. So they are trying to find out something swimming on their own, the person doesn't know to swim in this place. So they have to be given some solution. And this Google is good, but they very dangerous for medical science because gives you ill-informed knowledge. So then we ask patients about back pain. Swamiji was telling back pain. I tell them you do like this, you do like this, you do like this, but question is how much time do I spend explaining every patient? I said you would have visited. He keeps on getting some machines on his body and vibrations and all those kinds of things. I think there's something more. Then I discovered. I tell them do Bhujangasana. So one word, now he goes to Google what is Bhujangasana and he does Bhujangasana. Then I interacted with my colleagues from the Yoga Association. They said there's something more into it. I said, what is that? Then they said, to calm down your brain, you have to do Brahmi. I said, very good. Stress management. Now there's something more into it. What is that? I said, why do I acquire those knowledge myself? I'm not a selfish person. So here you are. And we have got all pious souls on this stage today. I'm sure Jharkhand is blessed today by having Dr. Nagan here today. And I'm sure you all will be knowing that we have been a personal yoga advisor of the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister who has been a crusader for the entire world, he has spread yoga in just a very short time. It's all because we are wanting to accept it. But as a concept we have accepted, but as a mass movement this has to go. And we all talk about medicine, evidence-based medicine. Today you are going to witness evidence-based yoga. This is what it is, because we all want proof. The kind of research that is going on in our country and it is going to the entire world. It's time for us to become inward. Our country will now get the research spread to the medical fraternity. So that is why Indian Medical Association and India Yoga Association, these two associations, this neurosurgeon is the plus between these two associations. I am the catalyst, I am that chemical reaction. I want this place, this Jharkhand started the Ayushman Yojana against curative. Can we have a ray of hope for that? The fire coming from this place of curative health. Yes, sir. So curative health. And all people on this Sunday morning who are here, I'm sure you are interested. You are the one who are going to brand ambassadors and reach out to your families, your society, and then the nation. Because yoga is not what we think yoga is. Yoga asana, Swamiji was telling. Yoga, if it is asana, it is exercise. But all of us know yoga means exercise. Stretching exercise is yoga. No, sir. It's the combination what Swamiji was telling. It's a combination, it's a synergy between the mind, body, and soul. How confused we are. I talk about brain, somebody talks about mind, somebody talks about man. I talk about heart, somebody talks about dil, somebody talks about karuna. In our Indian system, we have got different words expressing everything differently, and we understand it very nicely. But science is not able to differentiate it all. I think I should present before you the eminent speakers who have come all the way from far places to share their evidence on yoga today. And please take this home and let this be a mass movement going to the last population that we have, especially here. And I'm sure with the kind of interest and the governor has interacted with a couple of times, he has got some different vision. Probably he is the one who is going to help us in having this help be spread to the masses. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your words. So now we know the importance of yoga. So we also need to adapt it and practice it God's heart and to come here and enlighten us with his words, and let us give him a warm welcome.
I touch and salute the holy feet of Bharata Mata, the most powerful and the most merciful. The yoga event organized by the Indian Yoga Association, Jharkhand State Chapter. Today we all are here, and with us our beloved Dr. Batmasri H.R. Nagendranji, Chancellor of Vaishya University, Dr. N. Ganesh Rao, Kaivalya Dham Lonawala, Swamiji Pujaniya Bhavesh Anandji, Ramakrishna Mission Ashram, Dr. Sanjay Kumar, Secretary, Jharkhand Neuroscience Society, Dr. Segar Chaudhary, Gajal President IMA Ranchi, Sri Amit Kumar Ji, Secretary, Indian Yoga Association, Jharkhand, my dear dignitaries, friends from print and electronic media, Bhai Begno, Sabko Johar. That I am really happy to be here with you on this day, the function of yoga event organized by the Indian Yoga Association, Jharkhand State Chapter. Our doctor has very clearly said, medicine is not health. There are two types of cure in the medical science. One is preventive cure and another is treatment cure. So we have to decide we should move towards which one. We are spending so much of time on so many things. We must spend some time on our own health, what we should do. The health and mind are more connected than the health of the body. If the mind is sound, the mind is enthusiastic, the mind is clear, the thoughts are clear, that energy gives you extra health. That extra body health you will get. That is what yoga is doing an important role. Yoga is not only a physical posture or exercise, it is a holistic lifestyle connecting us to our inner selves and the universe. That is the greatest part of yoga. That you cannot get through a 5G scanning or an X-ray of the most modern machine, or maybe the 12G also can come for scanning your body. But you have to scan yourself by going through yourself. That is what is yoga. That clears your mind. Once the status of mind is clear, everything will be clear. And Bhagavad Gita says yoga is the journey of the self through the self to the self. From this we can easily understand what is yoga. Yoga cannot be explained better than this. So the yoga empowers us to lead a healthy life. It regenerates our minds, reduces stress, and clarifies our thoughts. This is what is yoga. But unfortunately, most of us are still, our minds are ruled by the Westerners. We don't recognize when it is there in our country. We don't recognize the good things of our country. We don't recognize the good traditions of our country. We don't recognize anything which is taught to us for centuries together. More than 1,000 years, we forget everything We got very less respect for it because of this slavery mind. But once it goes to the Western and comes back here, we start respecting it. That is what our great Modi ji has done. He has taken the yoga to the world. The world recognizes better than us. Then we start recognizing better than the world. So we have to be proud of and practice the good things. Respecting elders. What is the gain we are getting? We are not only getting their Ashirvad, by respecting the elders, we are self-regulating ourselves. That is what is more important. Life is not only wealth and health. Life is little more than that. That is the happiness. We all know what we are today. We all know once you cross 25 or 26 or 27, you know what is your life and which direction you are moving towards in your life. Some may become politician like me. Some may become big doctors like our neurosurgeon. Some are like our Swamiji sitting here. Some are social worker. Some are great businessmen. Some are small businessmen. Some are farmers. We all know what is going to be. Then why our mental stress always goes up? We want to do everything. When you are very young, you are thinking that you can do everything. By the time you are realizing that you can't do everything, because God is not creating a human being to do everything. We have been created to do what we can, what we should. So we must decide our lifestyle. We must agree with the life what we are having. We must start satisfying ourselves in doing our own duties. We should never compare ourselves with the others. The main mental stress is coming only because of two things. We always compare ourselves with others, or we want to do more and more and more than our capacity. Whatever may be the reason, but the stress can be totally removed only by one single science, that is yoga. There is no other single science. You can take any medicine. Okay, you will get sleep for some time. After getting out of it, then again you will get into more depression or more stress. Then as doctor has said, you take more and more medicine, the more and more side effects will come. The more and more side effects are there, more and more we become sick, or the more and more we become dull. We must know what we should do today, what we must do in this year, what we must do in the next 3-4 years. If we plan accordingly, then the life will be much easier. We will be very happy. When we are happy, our children are happy, our parents are happy, all the people around us are also happy. If we are not happy, we cannot keep anybody happy. Rather, we will spoil their others' happiness also. That is where this yoga is a science to set your mind. Your mind set will become crystal clear. That is where you just, our most respected Honorable Prime Minister of Narendra Modi ji has played a vital role in promoting yoga on the global stage. Today, Yoga Day has been recognized by the UN. The whole world is doing. People were saying it is only Hindu Dharma. No. Now in UAE, in the Muslim countries, people are doing yoga with more keen interest than us, because they start realizing it. It gives enormous energy. It gives enormous peace in the mind. The status of the mind is becoming strong and strong by doing yoga every day. physical conditions also improves a lot. That is where the world recognizes this yoga because of our Narendra Modi ji, and Modi ji is always insisting that yoga should be practiced at every level. And when I met our Yoga Foundation chapter Jharkhand, all the three people came to me and they said, we are having Yoga Foundation almost in every block of our Jharkhand. Even at the Panchayat level also, we are having our people. What we should do, in my opinion, we should take this yoga science at the school levels. When you start practicing something when you are young, that you will be continuing till the last day of our life. That is where, that's why people always say, you catch them young. If you catch them young for good things, then good society is formed. And a good society is formed, a good state is organized. And when all the states are good, then the country is marvelous. We have to go for that. And I am very much thankful to our Dr. Sanjay Kumar ji for taking the yoga science and its impact psychologically on your mind. The blood vessel should never get struck. If the blood vessel gets struck, that is where all the problem starts. So, preventive care for everything, both mind and body, is yoga. India is the capital of diabetes and hypertension, giving birth to other diseases. You go for the doctor and doctor is saying you got diabetes. Then you started eating it. Sometimes we are under control, sometimes we are not. What we think only today, because it is a wedding day, because it is we are going for some marriage, or our daughter or son is getting married, like that. Then you check, it is crossing 200, 250. Then again we start controlling it. But it is not a cure. We are only postponing the things. That is where, when you do yoga from the young days, we can prevent so many diseases. That's why I said the preventive cure is yoga. So my best wishes to all the organizers of this event, Indian Yoga Association, Jharkhand State Chapter, Jharkhand Neuroscience Society, Rockfield Health, and IMA Ranji, for giving this opportunity to all of us to be with you. And we also understand the scientific aspects of yoga based on the research findings. It is our responsibility to pass on this knowledge to future generations, ensuring that yoga's flame continues to burn bright for centuries to come. What we forget in the middle should be lightened up again. And in my concluding words, I encourage each one of you to incorporate yoga into your daily lives. Embrace the yoga way of living, as this will be impacting on your well-being. Don't think that we can't do our regular duties. We do yoga and do our regular duties. You can do better with more enthusiasm. And my prayer is that everyone should get every wealth and health. Above that, everyone should get the happiness. With that happiness, there is no point in having a huge wealth. What we do with it? If there is no happiness in the family, we may be a crorepati, a multi-crore assets we may be having. We must earn. I am not against earning. But at the same time, we must spend some time on us and some time on our family, so that we are creating a good family. A good family alone is the base for a good society, a better country. With these words, I thank you all for coming in the Sunday morning and giving me the opportunity to share some of my views with you. Dhanyabad, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, Jai Jharkhand.
Thank you so much, Honorable Governor, for highlighting the transformative power of yoga and in such a personal way. So now I would like to request everyone to please silence your phone or switch off it. Now, as we are ending the inauguration session, so I would like to ask Ranjit Pandey, who is the Senior Vice Chairperson of Indian Yoga Association.
ओम विश्वामिदेव सवितृतानि परात्व यत्रं कन्या ईश्वर। मैं कार्यक्रम आयोजक की तरफ से धन्यवाद भी आभार प्रकट करने के लिए यहाँ उपस्थित हूँ। सर्वप्रथम मैं आभार प्रकट करता हूँ परमेश्वर का, जिन्होंने ऐसी स्थिति निर्माण की किसी तरह की विघ्न बाधा नहीं आए। मैं हृदय की गहराई से आभार प्रकट करता हूँ महामहिम माननीय राज्यपाल महोदय, इतनी बेहतर समय से आप यहाँ उपस्थित हैं। मैं आभार प्रकट करता हूँ पद्मश्री परम आदरणीय डॉक्टर एच.आर. नारायण जी महोदय का। मैं आभार प्रकट करता हूँ डॉक्टर एम. गणेश राव जी का, जिन्होंने दूर से चल करके यहाँ अपने उपस्थित की। अनुशासन दिग्गजन का मैं आभार प्रकट करता हूँ। मैं आभार प्रकट करता हूँ सामने बैठे मातृशक्ति, गणमान्य लोग, लोक साधक, हमारे सुरक्षा के लोग और हमारे इस अवसर पर झारखंड योग के साधक इतना गौरवान्वित अपने को महसूस कर रहे हैं कि इतने बड़े विद्वान एक छोटा सा प्रदेश में आकर के योग की जो मसाल चल रहा है उसमें आपने अपना सहयोग दिया। समस्त झारखंड की जनता आपका आभार करती है। महोदय, इस अवसर पर मैं दो प्रार्थना करने के लिए यहाँ उपस्थित हूँ। पहला प्रार्थना मेरा यह है, अब हम योग जानना शुरू कर दिए हैं। हम योग में कितना जीते हैं यह मूल्यांकन करने की आवश्यकता है। और यदि हम अपने योग में कितना जी रहे हैं और ये मूल्यांकन कर लेंगे तो कहीं युग का योग कल्पतरु है। हम जो चाहेंगे सारी मनोकामना में पूर्ण हो सकता है, क्योंकि इसी के माध्यम से पहले कभी विश्व गुरु थे और पुनः विश्व गुरु हम हो रहे हैं। इसका अगर योग महल है तो हम उसका पहला कदम में चढ़ चुके हैं। वह 21 अंतर्राष्ट्रीय योग दिवस हुआ और उसे पूरा विश्व ने स्वीकार किया। गुरु किसे कहते हैं? जिसको सब स्वीकार करता है। और यह योग को पूरा विश्व स्वीकार किया, इसका मतलब है कि हम विश्व गुरु की ओर चल चुके हैं और इसका हम साक्षात गवाह बने। अंत में मैं महाहस्तियों को भी आभार प्रकट करता हूँ। यह सही है कि प्राचीन चीज है योग। महाराज के स्वामी रामदेव जी के प्रयास का घर पहुंचा है, इसको भुलाया नहीं जा सकता। हमारे देश के यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री के प्रयास से पूरा विश्व ने योग को स्वीकार किया। ऐसे यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री को इस अवसर पर मैं हृदय से आभार प्रकट करता हूँ और मुझे बहुत गर्व है, बहुत खुशी है इस अवसर पर मुझे आपके माध्यम को आभार प्रकट करने को मिला। जय हिंद, जय भारत।
Thank you so much, sir. So now I would like everyone to stand up for national anthem.
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय
अभी हम लोग हॉल छोड़ कर भी नहीं जाएंगे, अभी गेस्ट स्पीकर्स हैं, उनका लेक्चर्स होगा। सब जन अपने सीट
Oh,
पर
no,
रहेंगे।
oh, I can give you that, but not everything is in that. Speech paper.
Give it to him. You give it to him.
Now I would like to ask to join Dr. Parinita Sinha, who is the Vice President of Indian Yoga Association Jharkhand, for a meditation practice which is to still the body and mind. अपने सीट्स में पड़े रहेंगे सब जन।
Namaste to all. Now we are going to practice higher steadiness, means making our body and mind still and steady. This is an excellent practice or technique for preparing our body and mind for advanced meditation. So this the fifth leap of Sambhava Pratyahara, which means withdrawal of our senses. And this practice higher state, remember Pratyahara state, means control of glandular, fermentia, and fluctuations of mind. So let's start this practice. Sit in any comfortable pose or adjust yourself so that you feel the least possible discomfort. Straighten your spine and hold the head erect. Place both of the palms on the respective knees or on the lap. Close your eyes and relax yourself completely. Be aware of your whole body. Be aware of your whole body. Now, feel that your body is a part of ground. Imagine that your body is growing from the ground like a tree. Close your eyes and sit properly. Your torso, your head are the trunk, and your legs are the roots of the tree. Convince yourself that because your body is a part of the ground, it cannot and will not move. You are as steady as a large tree. Feel all the sensation of your body, and if possible, try to create a mental image of your body. Be aware of any pain, itching, stiffness, etc. Try to avoid these discomforts for some time. Be aware of your body and nothing else. Be aware of your body and nothing else. If your mind starts to wander, bring it back to the practice. Now bring your awareness to the right foot. Then slowly transfer your awareness to the left foot. Now to the right leg, left leg, right thigh, left thigh, right buttock, left buttock, spine, whole back, whole back. Come to the front side of the body, abdomen, chest, right arm, left arm, neck, head, face, whole body. Intensify your awareness as much as possible. Command yourself that I will not move my body. Make a resolve, sankalp, that you will be still and will not move or shake throughout the whole practice. Your body must be like a statue. After the stillness of the body, now shift your awareness to the breathing process. Watch each and every spontaneous and natural breath. Do not try to change the rhythm of the breath. Only develop awareness of it. Through breathing, you are inhaling prana, life force, cosmic prana inside your body, and try to energize the whole body. While exhaling, inner pain, kleshas, suffering are coming out from the body. Maintain the rhythm and positivity for some time. Now come back to the body from breathing observation, breath observation. Again visualize each and every part of the body. Rub your palm and put them on your eyes and open your eyes. Hari Om.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for guiding us with this meditative practice. Now, Now, at this time, I would like to ask Dr. N. Ganesh Raoji to come on stage for addressing us that how yoga helps us in stretch management. Dr. Ganesh Raoji is a highly accomplished and among one of the 1,000 most inspiring yoga teachers in India. He has conducted all over the world till date more than 20,000 sessions in yoga. Dr. Rao is a guide for PhD students in philosophy and yoga of Mumbai University and KK Sanskrit University, Lonwala. In addition to being a visiting faculty in Mumbai University and KJ Soumya University for the diploma course in yoga and counseling, for BA and MA degree courses in philosophy and Yoga Shastra, he is visiting faculty at Kaivalya Dham, Mumbai and Lonwala. He was a visiting faculty for Western philosophy at the Institute of Technology and Management, Bombay. Dr. Rao has taught us in several teachers training courses, TTC in Rishikesh, Dharamshala, and Goa for international students under the aegis of Yoga Alliance USA. He is also a member of Board of Studies at Sri Sri Yoga University, Bhubaneswar and Technical Expert Yoga for Quality Council of India. Dr. Rao is passionate about high altitude and trekking and football player. He has not only played at national level but also served as a coach for state football teams. It gives me immense pleasure to invite Sir and share his knowledge with us today.
जी कोई बात नहीं, वो तो मैं नीचे रखूंगा, इधर चलेगा, हाथ में पकड़ना पड़ेगा। हाँ इसको यूज करूंगा, चलेगा ना, कि यही पकड़ूं? डॉक्टर परिणीता, it is 11:10 now. I will stop at 12:10. हाँ ये रख। It is 11:11 now. By 12:10, yes. Is it okay? 1 hour I will speak. Yes. Yeah. So 12:15 I have kept. 12:15 then 15 minutes question answer I will take. नीचे रखना, वो मुंह के सामने फिर ब्लॉक करता है वो। या we shall chant 3 ohms and then we will start the session. Back straight. Back straight. Eyes closed. Breathe in. Relax. Breathe in. Breathe in. Slowly open your eyes. In the first place, I offer my respects to the governor in absentia who has just left, Guruji, Dr. Nagendra ji. I thank the IOA Jharkhand State Chapter and Rockfield Healthcare. In fact, I congratulate them for making this happen. And I thank Amit ji, Dr. Sanjay Kumar, Dr. Anuj, and also my colleague Ravi for being instrumental in inviting me here to share my thoughts on this subject of stress. The subject is yoga for stress management. There are three parts to this topic. One part is yoga, another is stress, and the third part is management. Unfortunately, the term stress management has become so beaten that we don't think of preventing stress and take it for granted that stress is inevitable and now you have to handle and manage it. Being in the field of yoga for the last 18-20 years, I feel we should first explore the first option, prevention of stress rather than management. And being in the field of yoga, that is possible. When it comes to stress, stress is so ubiquitous that at every age there is stress. In fact, back home in Bombay, I came across a situation where a woman was pregnant and she had the stress that after delivery of the child, which play school she will get the child admitted to. So the stress starts before the child is born. And then the stress continues for the child which is going to school, then becoming a teenager, a collegian, a worker, an employee, and finally, even the housewife is not exempted from stress. If you look at this fundamental reason why stress happens, yes, it is due to some causes which will come later. But let me go to one step before those causes and you will appreciate more. I think there are a lot of members of medical fraternity here who will appreciate what I am talking about. Today, modern research says, can I please request those people there not to talk, please? It is distracting. Today, modern research has come to the conclusion that there are 4 fundamental emotions in the mind. And if I use Hindi terms, these 4 fundamental emotions are bhaya, krodha, sukha and dukha. Anger, fear, happiness, unhappiness. 4 fundamental emotions of the human mind. And if you just observe for a few seconds, out of these four, three emotions are negative: anger, fear, unhappiness. Only one positive emotion, which is fundamental, that is happiness. So out of four fundamental emotions, three are negative, which means left to himself or herself, the human being is 75% of the time negative. This is a tremendous insight. And if you look at Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, Patanjali says when you sit down for meditation, this is the process, the inward going process. He says, Vitarka Vichara Ananda Asmita Anugamat Samprajnataha. When you start your meditation, the first thing that happens is Vitarkas. When you start meditation, the first thing that happens in the mind are negative tendencies which are coming out. In Western psychology, we talk about catharsis. All the suppressions and the repressions start coming up. And then we talk about sublimation. Fine. But three basic fundamental negative emotions in the human mind. If you take our Upanishads, the Upanishads say that the human mind is afflicted by Shadaripu, 6 enemies: Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. Kama is lust, Krodha is anger, Lobha is greed, Moha is infatuation, Mada is pride or arrogance, and Matsarya is jealousy. These 6 basic applications are there in every human mind. In fact, if I quote J. Krishnamurti, a modern thinker, he says, right from the time human being came to this universe till today, the human mind has the same problem. Whether the mind belongs to the Indian or the American or the European does not matter. All of them are affected with the same. With the mind being so negative and persistently, continuously being afflicted by these 6 enemies, what more can we expect other than the mind going through stress? You can do a small experiment, which I do regularly. In the midst of your talking to some person, you just stop and ask the person, are you happy? You'll be surprised by the response of the person. Invariably, 99% of the time, when you ask the question to the person, are you happy? The person will stop talking and start thinking, am I happy? The moment the person starts thinking whether I'm happy or not, you can conclude this person is not happy. Because happiness is not a matter of thinking. Happiness is a matter of being. When you are happy, that happiness comes out in the way you walk, in the way you talk. It is bursting out of you. Today, when I say I'm happy, I only mean I'm not unhappy. Today, when I say I'm healthy, it only means I'm not sick. We have lost the capacity of pure happiness, pure health. And even if you marvel at the words sukha and dukkha, sukha and dukkha are opposites. And wherever the mind is there, it always works dichotomously. The mind cannot work linearly. If I say she's a very good person, the moment I say she's a good person, at the back of the mind, I have a definition of what it is to be a bad person. Without knowing what is a bad person, I cannot say she's a good person. If I say he's tall, I have an idea at the back of the mind what it is to be short. The mind works dichotomously. And this is the basic source of stress. At no situation in life you will be stable. Because the mind in Sankhya, made up of 3 gunas, Sattva guna, Rajas guna, Tamas guna, the gunas are inherently changing. You cannot hold any state of your mind stable. And that is why, in a lighter vein, we say, when you are very happy, never promise anything. Because when you are happy, if you promise, which we normally do, the happiness does not last. When the happiness goes away, you start answering who promised. And that is why we say, when you are angry, don't speak. Because the anger is not going to last. Wherever the mind is there, change is there. Patanjali says, Parinama tapa samskara dukkhahi, gunavritti virodhacha dukkhameva sarvam vivekinaha. This mind continuously changes. And to complete the example that I gave, sukha and dukkha are mental concepts. If you go to Indian philosophy, the Atman in Vedanta is defined basically as Sat Chit Ananda. And now compare the word Ananda with Sukha and Dukkha. The mind will always be between Sukha and Dukkha. And if some of you have not marveled, for Ananda there is no opposite. You cannot say Ananda. There is no Ananda. Ananda is a positive state of bliss. And that is the nature of ourselves to begin with. What happens is, when we identify with the mind, which is the cause of all my problems, there is Sukha and Dukkha happening. So sometimes I'm happy, sometimes unhappy. My graph of emotions is fluctuating. Because I'm still at the level of the mind. The question is, can I go beyond the mind? Yes. All traditions of yoga take you to that state, which is the no mind state, which in Hatha Yoga we say Unmani Avastha, or we say Manonmani Avastha. In fact, all techniques of meditation are meant for giving you a glimpse of that state of mind where the mind is not there, only consciousness is there. So when Patanjali says Chitta Vritti Nirodha, when the vrittis of the mind are stopped, there is no mind. And if there is no mind, tada drashtu swarupe avasthanam. The drashtu or the seer or the purusha or the consciousness is established in its own nature. So stress is inevitable. And if it is inevitable, the second question is how to handle it, how to manage it. I'm sure all of you would have found out your own unique ways of managing stress. And after some time, when I come back to stress, I'm also going to say that all of us are masters in creating our own brands of stress. Because stress is not something objective hanging in the air. Each one of us creates our own brand of stress. Because stress is totally a subjective phenomenon. It happens from inside. The response to the stress is objective. The cause of the stress, whatever it be, even if modern science says that stress comes from, to some extent, from heredity factors, my genes. But heredity factors are a predisposing cause. The precipitating cause is something in the external world. And finally, it is your makeup of the personality and the mind which determines whether you are going to have stress or not. And cutting the line short, if I have to use a phrase, you have to envisage a state of being where there is no stress at all. And you can envisage that by that small saying, which is in Urdu, and which says, Begana Shadi mein Abdullah Diwana. Can I reach a stage in life where whatever is happening there, I am absolutely in a master state? Yes, it is possible. It is possible. Because yoga practices, by understanding the mind, take you to that state, slowly take you to that state. Personally, I feel the best and the most effective antidote to stress, if at all it is there, it comes from yoga. And I'm not biased here, because I have been in corporate life for 20 years as a finance executive. I have been in the sports field, having played competitive sports for more than 17 years, 6 national championships, 1 Asian Games, and I know what is the stress in the sports there. I have been in yoga for the last 20 years, and when I look at it, there are pearls of wisdom which remains to be implemented, first by accepting it, and then by implementing it, and then slowly being able to see, okay, how do I manage this? I will shortly define and describe what is stress, because stress has become so popular. I mean, if you want to know the extreme extent of popularity, like everything else, we stand on the head as far as stress is also concerned, and that extreme form of popularity is only a person who has got stress today is considered as an important person. And then he can say, look, I have a lot of stress. And the moment you say I have a lot of stress, then people have to assume you are a very important person, you've got a lot of stress. This is the way we have dealt. In everything else, we are going in the same direction, where certain things are not invited, we elevate it in our own minds. So what is this stress? In fact, the definition of the stress that I am dealing with, some of you may be very familiar with it, because you're all educated intellectuals coming from medical fraternity, some of you. So you'll be familiar with it. On the medical side, or generally speaking, we define stress as a state of physiological or psychological strain caused by adverse stimuli. The adverse stimuli can be internal or external. And this adverse stimuli disturbs the normal functioning of the organism, the human being, and the human being does not want the disturbance. And lots of time, stress is synonymously used with the word stress response or stress reaction. When this adverse stimuli happens, how does this organism respond to it or react to it? That reaction or response is stress. Fine. This is a normal understanding. Now I am coming to the psychological understanding. And if you understand this definition, you will see the various levels how stress deteriorates. And when I use the word deteriorate, today we know, medical science says, more than 95% of physical ailments are psychosomatic. More than 95%. Except for injuries or viral infections, whether you take diabetes, you take hypertension, you take asthma, you take obesity, you take constipation, you take acidity, you take skin problems, and you'll be surprised, you take back problems, the spinal problems, all of them are stress caused. They are psychosomatic, they arise in the psyche and slowly they go down to the body. So if I have to define stress, a very beautiful definition, very precise definition. Stress is the response of an individual to a situation where he or she perceives that the demands made upon him or her is more than his or her capacity of handling those demands. I repeat, mark these words very clearly. Stress is the response of an individual wherein he or she perceives that the demands made upon him or her are more than his capacity or resources to handle it. So stress always arises when there is a mismatch between my capacity and the demands made upon me. But the critical word here is this mismatch is a perception. It is not a fact. So two students appearing for the same exam, one student is totally happy-go-lucky and the another student is so stressed out, he does not sleep, he does not eat food. And paradoxically, the one who loses sleep and does not eat is the most studious student. But the other person, the student, same exam, and the stress level is different. Being in the sports field, I can tell you, when there is a match on the ground with 60-70,000 people waiting for the teams to come on the field, when we start wearing our stockings, there are one or two youngsters whose hands start shaking because 60,000 people have to go and play in front of them, where there are 2-3 people who are wearing and saying, today is my day, I will show. Take two housewives. When guests are coming at home, one housewife is reveling at the prospect that today I am being the best host. I will ensure that hospitality is maximum provided. The one who comes here will go totally contented and happy. And the other housewife, from the morning, she has not slept. From the morning, the thought, evening guests are coming. Okay, what do you do? Whether they like it or not, there is total stress here. Not only this, I have seen stress for people who are going to play golf, which is meant for relaxation. People who are going to go for a swim. It's a relaxation, it's an entertainment. But the stress builds up because stress is not objective. It is subjective. That's why I said we are very creative, each one of us, without exception. Each one of us is creative in creating our own brands of stress. Because it depends upon how you perceive, your perception, how you respond. When you respond, I say how you respond, it's your personality, your mind makeup, which determines whether you will have stress or not. Stress is totally subjective. And if it is subjective, then that is why I said each one of us has the promise available, the potential, that if I create my own stress, then I can very well not create the stress. The difference between that person who creates and does not create is the practices or your understanding. How do I understand? What practices should I do? Just to run through the causes of stress, internal causes. Stress can be caused by demands which are internal or external. The internal causes totally are subjective. It depends upon your lifestyle choice. Mark the word lifestyle. The most critical factor which creates stress. In that lifestyle choice, immediately what comes to mind is your sleeping habits, your overwhelming schedule that you take upon yourself, your intake of coffee, all depends upon your lifestyle choices. Again, your mental attitude. Some of us are naturally very self-critical, pessimistic, negative, over-analysis. In psychology, Western psychology, we talk about type A person. Type A person is a perfectionist. Very good to be a perfectionist. But then the more perfectionist you are, the more demands you're putting on your mind. you will be never happy with whatever you do. Because philosophically speaking, perfection is a myth. Perfectibility is the fact. Whatever state you are, you can still improve. There is nothing like perfection. It is always perfectibility in philosophy that we talk about. Again, the personality types, type A, type B, perfectionist. You want to be perfect in everything, plan up totally and then take the first step. If you do that, you will never take the first step because the planning will never be complete. And you keep on adding problem to yourself. If you take what are the external causes can be your physical environment, too much light, too much heat, too much cold, too much noise, constrained spaces, physical environment, social environment, your relationship with people. In transactional analysis, we say we relate to people from three aspects: as a parent, an adult, or a child. You can watch this when you are dealing with any person. Are you taking the stance of the parent? Are you taking the stance of the child? Or are you taking the stance of the adult? And very clearly, transactional analysis says only when it is adult to adult transaction, the strain is minimum. Because when you become a child, irrespective of your age, the other person has always to play the role of the parent. And it is strenuous. How long can you be a child? Sometimes you have to grow up and be an adult there. So adult to adult transaction is the best transaction. So we are talking about physical environment, social environment, whether you are very bossy, whether you are very aggressive, whether you are very selfish in nature in your transactions with people there. The third, the most important with which we can relate is the organizational environment. The time deadlines that you have to meet, the expectations of promotions or bonus or stock options, the competition, the work pressure. These are normal external factors which create stress. If I have to summarize it and give generic terms, stress normally happens when there is sudden, intense, unusual stimulus. And if I have to put it philosophically, stress happens when you have to deal with the unknown. Mark this word unknown. I mean, these are very small things. When I meet some person, I meet and talk, the person is very nice, but I am not comfortable till the time I ask the person, what is your name? No, why do I ask the name? I ask the name because the name tells me what is the person's mother tongue, from where this person has come. Then I ask, where are you working? Because that still gives me some more information. Only when I am know the person fully, I am very comfortable because now I know the person. We are very uncomfortable in dealing with the unknown. When a sudden stimulus comes, we are totally, when we are practiced with that stimulus, we are very comfortable. I know how to handle it. Stress comes from conflicts of motives. And whenever two people get together, there cannot but be conflict. Because two people are different. The mental makeup is different. There is always conflict. Howsoever close you are. And in this respect, Patanjali says, Guna Vritti Virodha. The three gunas which make me up, Rajas, Tamas and Sattva, the proportion of those three gunas and the best person, best friend, my spouse, my child, howsoever close I am, they are also made up of three gunas. And the guna mix in them is not the same as guna mix in me. I cannot have a perfect experience. Never, never. There is something left to be desired. Again, frustration. I want to do something, I am not able to do for whatever reason. Frustration of goal-directed activities. Stress Now I'm coming to a very important point which I started with. Stress is always based upon fear of future and worries of the past. In the present, there is no stress. Again, I repeat, stress is always based upon the fear of future and the worries of the past. In the present, there is no stress. Now, for students of yoga here, teachers of yoga here, if you look at the first sutra of Patanjali, Patanjali says the first sutra is the simplest of the sutras. Atha Yoga Anushasanam. And looking at all the books of translations, we understand Atha Yoga Anushasanam as now the discipline of yoga. But if you go slightly deeper, experientially, it's a sutra, it's not a shloka. A sutra has got number of tiers of understanding, number of chains, circles of understanding. This sutra is translated and interpreted maybe in 5-6 ways. I'm not going to it. The one interpretation which is not given and which is the most important interpretation in the context of our topic today, Atha Yoga Anushasanam, now the discipline of yoga, means the discipline of yoga is of the now. Can I come to this present moment? If you read Eckhart Tolle's Power of Now, if you take awareness, if you take mindfulness, if you take meditation, all of them are talking only of one thing: can I come to the present moment? And if you see our makeup, human makeup is so fascinating. Our sense organs are always in the present. What you're seeing is now. What you're hearing is now. Your sense organs are always in the present. Unfortunately, the mind is either in the past or the future. This is the biggest problem of human mind. You may think, when I look at you, I feel very nice. All of you are concentrated in what I'm talking. But I can tell with 100% assurance, you're not totally concentrated in what I'm talking. Because when I'm talking to you and understanding, one part of the mind goes, oh, I have read this somewhere else. That person was also saying this. Oh, this is so nice. Oh, why are you making yoga so complicated? Oh, what do I do with all this knowledge? So even when you're listening to me and understanding, your mind is going here and there. If you look at the etymological meaning of yoga, yoga is coming from yujya samadhau. Yoga is equal to samadhi, is equal to concentration. This is the meaning of yoga. Nowhere it is said yoga is equal to asanas or yamas or niyamas or pranayam. No. Yoga is coming from yujya samadhau. Yoga is equal to samadhi, is equal to concentration. And concentration will happen only when you are in the present moment. The more concentrated you are, the more yogic you are. So people who have doubt that I'm now 50, 55, बहुत late हो गया, पहले मैं जाना था. No, you are wrong. Because yoga is totally of the mind. Can I get concentrated in the present moment fully? And if I add one more thing, the more concentrated you are in life, the healthier you are in life. Concentration is the secret of good health. You can see this for yourself. When you are reading a book, totally engrossed in the book, 3-4 hours you are reading, you are totally drinking from the book. Only when there is a small break, you say, oh, back is hurting. Oh, my stomach is feeling hungry. When you are totally concentrated, your back is not there, your hunger is not there, your thirst is not there, nothing is there. You are in a state of perfect health. And if you want scientific reasons, why concentration is the secret of health? Concentration is focusing of consciousness on one point. A small definition. Concentration is focusing of consciousness on one point. And wherever consciousness goes, your prana also goes in the same point. All pranic healing techniques are based upon this principle. If you take Reiki, what does a Reiki master do? If his shoulder is paining, the Reiki master concentrates on this shoulder. When he or she concentrates, his or her prana goes there. The prana is the healing factor. So when you are concentrating totally, your consciousness is on one side, your prana also comes on one side. And when the prana comes there, there is no dissipation of energy. You are one bundle of energy. Otherwise, our prana or our life energy is dissipated. When I am speaking to some person, I think about something else, I think about something else. There is so much of wastage, leakage. When you are concentrated, there is no leakage at all. You are in perfect health shape. So, fear of the future, worry of the past is the source of your stress. And if this has to be removed, you have to come to the present moment. Yoga is coming to the present moment. This is the discipline, Anushasana. This is the Abhyasa. This is the Anushtan. All three words Patanjali is using. Abhyasa, Anushasana, Anushtan. They're all degrees of severity, but all of them pertain to only one thing. My mind which goes here and there, stop. Can I bring it here? In spirituality, I have the two best laws of spirituality. The persons who are sitting in front of you are the most important person in life at this point of time. First principle. Second principle is what you are doing now is the most important thing in your life. If you have these two principles, I repeat, the person with whom you are in this moment is the most important person in your life. And at this moment, what you are doing is the most important thing. This moment is the only moment of your life. If these three principles you do, you are the most yogic, you are the most spiritual person in the world. And there is no stress there for that person. There's no stress at all. The question is it possible? Yes, it is possible. It is possible. How it is possible? Yes, let's go. Before I go to what can yoga do, let me see the time. I've got 25 minutes, yeah. The moment any of these adverse stimuli, the causes are present, now I'm talking in scientific language, because there are some doctors here, they may be knowing it, but at the cost of repetition, I'm saying this to make the presentation more complete. The moment a stimulus is there, which is adverse, a disturbing cause, a demand which I'm not able to meet, there arises an emotion in the mind. Emotion is an awareness of the state of the mind. And the moment this emotion happens, the brain recognizes this emotion as a disturbed emotion. There is fear, there is anxiety, there is jealousy, there is anger. The brain recognizes this emotion as a disturbed emotion. The moment the brain recognizes, it starts activating its subcenters, the main factors of which are the hypothalamus, the nervous system, the endocrine system, the limbic system. Now, the organism internally is getting geared to fight that negative emotion which has come up. How do I face it? These subcenters provide the response to that emotion, which is called the stress response, stress reaction. That response is mainly neural of the nerves and of the hormones, which are discharged by the endocrine system to gear up to face that stress. And all of us know the most important system which is activated is the sympathetic nervous system. The most important hormone which is secreted is the adrenaline by the adrenal glands. And now we are prepared as an organism for the fight or the flight response. And before I go ahead, mark the word fight or flight. And note in bold terms, other than these two, there is one more response, which is the yogic response, which is called as the flow. You don't have to fight, you don't have to flee. You can flow. So neither fight nor flight. There is a flow possible, but we are only in this dichotomy or fight or flight. And that adrenaline which is discharged, what does it do to the body? It ensures your liver secretes glucose, so your blood glucose starts going up. Your pupils dilate for more light to enter. Your hair stands on end. The perspiration starts happening in the folds of the skin. The spleen starts secreting red blood cells. Blood is transferred to the heart, the brain, and the muscles for getting ready for doing some activity. From the visceral region, the blood is imbalanced manner. It is transferred here and there. Fine. In ancient times, this fight or flight response capacity was a blessing. Imagine a human being spotted by a tiger, and the tiger is now ready to catch the human being as a prey. That adrenaline ensures that the man has got power to run faster than the tiger. But today, our adrenaline is discharged. When I'm driving in the car and the signal turns red, my adrenaline comes out, I start swearing. Oh, that adrenaline which is there is not utilized. It starts giving all the problems that are there. How does it manifest? How does this stress manifest? I'm cutting short. Because I've got to go to yoga. This stress manifests. The moment an emotion happens, we talk about the psychic stage of stress. Disturbed emotion. That emotion will make you cranky, irritable, hyperactive, afraid, apprehensive, anxious. Lots of disturbance in the mind. It is confined to the emotional level, feeling level. When this happens regularly, repetitively, from the psychic stage, it goes to the psychosomatic stage. In that stage, there are generalized changes in the body. You may find some perspiration, there is palpitation, little bit disturbance in the breathing, generalized changes. Not controlled here also. It goes to the somatic stage. Now the disturbance becomes functional. Where the palpitations are there, now it becomes blood pressure. That sugar which was there more, marginal diabetes. These words are very interesting. And doctor will accept with me what we were discussing yesterday. Marginal diabetes, small pill. Okay, fine, no problem at all. And even at this stage, when it is not controlled, the damage is complete. It becomes an organic damage. The hypertension which continues with or without tablets may lead to enlarged heart. The erratic breathing, the disturbed breathing may come to a state where you're confirmed asthmatic patient. The organ is damaged. In the first three stages, yoga is totally effective. In the last stage, yoga cannot work. When there is an organic damage, yoga cannot work. It can prevent further damage, but cure is not possible. It's not possible at all. If this is how it goes, now I'm coming to the management part. How do we manage? All of us know how to manage. All of us have our own stress busters. But most of the time, for most of the people, we try to manage our stress by escaping from stress. They are temporary relief measures. They are diversionary tactics. We don't hold the bull by the horns. We go on this side. Okay, we will not look at it. What is this diversionary tactics? I've been in corporate field, I know. You can visualize a corporate executive coming out of the boss's cabin, stressed out, and then he loosens the tie sits on the chair, puts both the feet on the table with the shoes on, and takes a long, deep exhalation. One person goes to an empty room in the office and takes a short nap just to take rest. Another person goes down for a refreshing smoke. Another person gets addicted to the daily peg of whiskey. One person consumes a cup of coffee too many. Another person starts watching movies without seeing it. Another person has a remote on the hand on the television and goes on surfing the channels without looking at anything. Our weekend parties, weekend dinners are also escape measures from the stress that we are going through, thinking that, okay, if I have this sort of entertainment, my stress will go. It will not go. Because you are not handling the cause of the stress, you are handling only the symptoms of the stress. By handling the symptoms, how the stress will go? It will not go at all. So now let's come to yoga. How do we look at stress? How do you look at this management from yoga point of view? When we talk about handling, managing stress from yoga, the word yoga includes both, and this is very important. By both, I mean it includes the philosophy and the practices. Unfortunately, we only take to the practices without changing the philosophy. I cannot have the cake and eat it too. In Vedanta, we give a definition of happiness. Happiness is desires fulfilled by desires entertained. I repeat, happiness is equal to desires fulfilled divided by desires entertained. When you fulfill one desire, you become very happy. But unfortunately, you have added 3 more desires. So when the denominator goes on increasing, your happiness goes on going down. The question is, am I handling my desires? Am I facing the desires? If I go on increasing my desires and then say, no, I want to be happy, how will you be happy? Because the moment you finish one desire, another desire comes up. The question is, you have to go to the philosophy which talks about the lifestyle. What is the lifestyle that you are accommodating? If I have a small car and I want a big car, yes, I have to earn more. Today in our day-to-day life, if I have to say, from where is stress coming? Stress is coming from lack of time. And if lack of time is there, relationship problems are there. You're not giving sufficient time to people whom you love. Lack of space. If lack of space is there, there is privacy issues. Standard of living. I aim big. And if standard of living is there, I have to earn more. And if I have to earn more, I entered into the rat race. And I say it is very stressful. Yes, it is stressful because you have put up that desire in front of you. We have to ask the question sooner or later, what do I want to have out of my life? And if I go back to existentialist philosophy, it says only when you ask the question, what do I want to do out of life, out of my life, for the first time, you start living an authentic existence. Otherwise, you have been living a life which is decided by people. After school, I go to college because everybody goes. After college, after a certain age, I get married because this is the age for marriage, everybody gets married. After that, I have children, everybody gets children. No. Do you want to do? When will you ask? There has to be that lifestyle has to be questioned. What is my lifestyle? What is my goal? If I have got hypertension and I do Shavasana or I do Brahmari, yes, hypertension will come down definitely. But the moment the effect of Shavasana and Brahmari is gone, hypertension will go up again. Because you have not attacked, confronted the cause of hypertension. You are attacked only the symptom of hypertension. When you do yoga practices for dealing with the psychosomatic ailments, only yoga practices, you are dealing only with the symptoms of the problem, not the cause of the problem. Sooner or later, you have to ask why, from where has this come? Stress. That questioning of lifestyle. So when we talk about yogic lifestyle or so-called spiritual lifestyle, we talk about detachment. We talk about desirelessness. We talk about egolessness. We talk about contentment. If you go into each of these values in life, the yogic values, which comes to you by practicing yoga, by meditating on the yogic values, these are values which actually start slowly changing the way you start living your life. Egolessness, asmita or ahankar, desirelessness, contentment or santushta. These are all values which slowly come and slowly start changing your outlook towards life. I have come across a lot of people. The moment you say detachment, they will say, "मेरे को yoga नहीं करना है." Detachment does not mean non-enjoyment. Understand very clearly. Detachment does not mean non-enjoyment. This is a misunderstanding. Detachment means after you have enjoyed certain thing, don't be attached to it. At the time when I am having my dinner, the moment I put my first morsel and little bit taste goes, immediately the mind says, lunch was much better. Now, when I say lunch was better, mark what's happening. When I was having lunch and enjoying it, my mind got attached to that. And now when it is attached, evening when I am having dinner, the mind says dinner is not as good as lunch. Where is the problem? The problem is you got attached to the lunch there. Why do you get attached to the lunch? Because the mind, if you are not aware, mark the word aware, it will go on recording. Unconsciously, involuntarily, it goes on recording what you are doing. And that recording in Western psychology we call conditioning. That recording in Indian psychology we call samskaras. That samskara comes in the way of your dealing. Anything that you deal with, the samskara will come. It will not allow you to enjoy. In fact, I have seen when you are in yoga and have the capacity of detachment, you can enjoy maximum anything in life. Because you're not expecting that joy to be returned again, repetitive joy. No, I'm fully in this moment, I'm enjoying it fully. Over. Now, next moment, yes, I'm fully enjoying it. No, this is not overlapping here. This is not overlapping here. For us, you know, when we work in corporate body, when somebody says, I have got 20 years of experience, you know what is the 20 years of experience? The 20 years of experience is 1 day's experience multiplied by 365 into 20. Because the same experience is repeated 20 years. What experience are we talking about? Because the mind is second hand. The mind cannot come out with any creativity. You may be shocked when I'm saying this. All creativity happens when you reach the precipice of intellect and then just spill over. All creativity, all inventions, discoveries have happened in a state of intuition, not intellect. Intellect will take you to that state. And when you reach that state and just slip over, that is the time intuition starts happening. That is what Patanjali says. When dharana and dhyana reach the maximum, totally concentrated you are. When the Triputi is there, the meditator, the object meditated upon, the process meditating, when you are on the peak of your concentration, something magic happens. What that magic happens? The meditator is as if not there. The process of meditation as if not there. Arthamatra nirbhasam, the object reveals itself. What is the object revealing? The object is revealing its essence. That essence which you cannot get by intellect. By intellect, you can get only characteristics, attributes, qualities of an object. You cannot get the essence of the object. And the essence of the object is the creativity. And Archimedes, when he has to solve the problem of what quantity of dross is there in the king's crown, he breaks his intellect and says, I can't solve this problem. and the neck is at stake. He accepts after 3, 4, 5 months, says, look, I cannot, I give up. And that particular day when he says, give up, I'm ready for death, naked, when he enters the bathtub, the solution occurs to him, and then he runs around the town of Athens saying, Eureka, Eureka. I found it, I found it. When has he found it? He has found it when he has given up intellect and the intuition starts happening. And to complete the story, that is the specific gravity principle that we study in physics in school, and which makes so much problem for our minds to study that. And for Archimedes, he discovered that at the naked stage when entering the bathtub. Coming back. So, when we talk about yoga, we talk about not only yoga practices, but yoga philosophy. Again, I am coming to now the most important point. In Indian philosophy, consciousness is a noun. In Western philosophy, consciousness is a verb. Look at the difference. When consciousness is a verb, consciousness in science, in Western philosophy, is always intentional, object oriented. When I say I'm conscious, any of you can ask me, you're conscious of what? Then I will say I'm conscious of so and so thing. There is an object in the consciousness. But in Indian philosophy, that consciousness can exist by itself on its own. It is a noun. So if you take the human being, excuse me for philosophy, if you take the human being, we are made up of two parts. And this is the two parts which make up everything in the universe. If you take Tantra, these are the two parts which is called Shiva and Shakti. If you take Chinese philosophy, it is Yin and Yang. If you take Sankhya, it is Purusha and Prakriti. If you take psychology, it is the masculine and the feminine principle. Everywhere you will find these two principles. Everything in the universe is made up of these two principles. In the human being, that one principle is the principle of consciousness. Consciousness and energy. These are the two principles. That energy principle in me gives rise to the body and the mind. The body I called as Stula Sharira, the mind I called as Sukshma Sharira. Both are coming from energy. So the consciousness is the energy. And like all Indian philosophies, except the Charvakas, the Indian philosophy says, my dukkha or my suffering, stress included, is because of avidya, ignorance. What is the ignorance? The ignorance is the fundamental question of Upanishadic meditation, who am I? If I am made up of these two principles, the consciousness on one side, the body on the other side, who am I of these two? If I am in the throes of avidya, which all of us are, I identify with the body and the mind as the real me. Whereas the real me is the consciousness. And it is not me who is saying, or Upanishad is saying, reality with R capital in philosophy is something which is unchangeable, totally permanent, eternal. That is the definition of reality. The body and the mind continuously change. It is not the reality. The consciousness is all the time the same. So if and when I don't realize that I am consciousness, I identify with the mind and the body, all that happens to the body and the mind I take as if happening to me. So when the body grows old, I say, I am growing old. No, you are not growing old, your body is growing old. When the mind is depressed, you say, I am depressed. No, you are not depressed, your mind is depressed. I am not playing upon words. This is actually factual. If all my problems are because of identification, stress included, I'll come to stress. This is the most important point I'm making, then I will stop for lack of time. This identification is the source of all my problem. So what is the solution? Solution is disidentification. Unfortunately, despite medical science progress so much, there is no surgery we can separate the consciousness from the body and the mind. So am I doomed? No, you're not doomed. Now I'm coming to the most important part of my presentation, only 5 minutes, but this will require training and this will transform if you are able to practice. This disidentification of consciousness from the body and the mind is called awareness, is called mindfulness. All of us are conscious, nobody has doubt about it. But are we aware? Big question mark. And now you have to answer, what is this awareness? How do I distinguish between consciousness and awareness? Because in the dictionary, both have got the same meaning. And in some languages, there is no word for awareness. In the Indian context, this awareness is what we talk about as Sakshi Bhav. What is this awareness? Now pay attention, last 2 minutes. Consciousness is consciousness of objects. So I am looking at Ravi, I am conscious of Ravi. I am totally conscious. But am I aware? Question mark. When will I be aware? I am defining awareness now. Consciousness is consciousness of objects. Awareness is consciousness of consciousness. At this point of time, I am talking to you. I am conscious. Nobody can deny I am conscious. If I am not conscious, I can't talk. But am I aware? I will tell you, yes, I am aware. What does it mean? It means when I am talking to you, I am conscious, I am talking to you. How do you know I am aware? I am saying I am aware because when I am talking to you, certain sentences, and I see some smile on Jyotika's face, or some frown on somebody's forehead, some body language which says I am enjoying what you are talking about, all these stimuli I am taking real time, and I am actually changing what I am talking to you. I am not talking out of memory. Awareness enables you to come to the moment for the first time. When you are aware, you will always be in the present moment. Now you remind, Atha Yoga says, yoga is the discipline of now. That discipline of now will happen only when you become aware. Now, last example. When you get angry and you do the damage, you shout, yell, scream, kick a flower pot, go and sulk in a corner, different ways of manifesting anger. And then you resolve, it's not good to get angry, henceforth I will not get angry. This all of us do. But as a yoga person, having thought and experienced a lot, my question to the person who got angry and did the damage, mark the question now. My question is, when you were angry, where were you? Again, I am repeating, when you were angry, where were you? You are not there at all. You are totally angry. Total identification with the mind. And what I am asking is, at the time when you are angry, you are not aware you are angry. If you are aware, you would not have done the damage. Now I again repeat a sentence. When you are angry, if you are aware you are angry, you are no longer angry. This is not playing upon words. This is actually the case. When I am training my football players on the ground, I am tremendously angry because I have to correct them, otherwise they will not train. But that anger is not disturbing me because I know I am angry to get this job done. I am fully aware. A first-time mother, after that, the mother loses that capacity. The first-time mother, when her tiny tot of 1 year, 2 years plays mischief, the mother shows she is angry, corrects the child. That anger of the mother does not disturb her psyche at all, no stress at all. Because she knows at the time which she is angry, this anger is necessary to correct this child. But the same mother, when she gets angry with her husband, all hell falls loose. Because when she gets angry with her husband, awareness is gone. Now mark the word, all my problem is because I'm identifying with the mind. You see this sentence, I am angry. I, which is consciousness, angry. You identified. If you remove a part of your consciousness, like what I'm doing now, and you watch what's happening. So I am talking to you, I am aware I am talking to you. I'm totally in a very relaxed state, talking to you, whatever stimulus comes, I'm changing what I'm talking to you because I'm in the moment. When you are aware, you will respond to a situation. If you are not aware, you will react to a situation. There is a difference between reacting and responding. Reaction is mechanical. Response is only when you start responding, you become responsible. When you are reacting, you are irresponsible. This awareness, which happens in every form of meditation, because in meditation, you first still the body, still the breathing, and then the mind settles down. When all the activities of the mind settle down, this consciousness which is meditator, there is nothing for the meditator to watch. It's an experience of pure awareness. This meditative experience you take in day-to-day life. And if I have to give you a clue, your level of awareness is inversely proportional to the speed of your activity. The faster you do something, lesser awareness you have. Because when you do fast, that is why in Patanjali's yoga, when you do asanas, you are supposed to lift the legs slowly. Every asana has to be done as slow as possible. Why? Because when you're doing the asana slowly, your awareness is there. Just see, I'm sleeping, and in halasana, I raise the leg up. Now my awareness is here, then it is here. In between, I have lost because it is so fast. If I take the leg slowly, 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 I am totally in the moment there. I'm totally in the moment. Every asana is a piece of art. Every asana is a tool of meditation, provided you differentiate between exercise and asana. The yoga asana, that's why Patanjali says, Tatha Dvandhanavik Hataha. By doing asanas, conflicts in mind will go. How conflicts will go? Conflicts will go because you're totally in the present moment. You're totally relaxed. There is nothing happening in the mind. You're totally in the asana there. When you finish that half an hour asana, you're totally relaxed, refreshed. Nothing troubles you. Again, the awareness level depends upon the gap between stimulus and response. Last example. Next time, when you get a chance, you watch two people talking to each other, you will notice something very interesting. When two people are talking to each other, you notice it very minutely, ensure they don't watch you, and you watch what's happening. This person talks to this person, A talks to B. Before A finishes, B replies. Before B finishes, A gives back again. Again, this is what we call conversation. No, this is not conversation, this is monologue. Because when A is talking, B is not listening. B is preparing the reply, ye bolega to kya bolugi main bhi. And when she is talking, this person is not listening, this person is preparing the reply. We have lost the capacity of listening. The moment you start listening, your awareness level starts going up. As a teacher, as a counselor, as a meditator, your listening capacity is so very crucial for adding quality to life. If you don't have capacity of listening, listening is the gap between what comes and what you reply. That gap, that is very important. That is the spiritual space. Okay, I had to take a number of other points, but time is short. Sorry. You can ask questions if you want to ask questions.
Whoever wants to ask question, they can stand up and ask freely.
If not, then I will deal with one more technique of dealing with stress. But if question is there, I'm glad to attempt to answer the questions. If any question, yeah, please. Okay, I will attempt to answer. But if I attempt to answer, you will have to pay me consultation charges. You are asking me how to study without getting distracted. Okay. Your basic problem, not problem is a wrong word. The basic issue with the mind, and this is there with all the minds. And this is the crux of Karma Yoga. And that crux is when you are studying, time and again the thought of the exam and passing the exam comes there. That is your problem. That is why Bhagavad Gita says, Karmaneva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachan. Your adhikar is only for studying. The moment you start studying and the thought goes, oh, I have to give the exam. Will I pass or not? You're totally disturbed. It will not happen. Your sleep will go. In Western psychology, there is a school of philosophy called Hormism, which is the school of purposivism. And Western psychology says that no human action can be done without purpose being there. Every human action, whether voluntary, involuntary, conscious, unconscious, all human actions have got purpose behind them. This is Western psychology. But Indian psychology begs to differ. Indian psychology says, till the time you have purpose or goal or fruit in the consciousness, and then you are doing an action, okay, all your actions will beget samskaras. Samskaras will come only with motivated actions. Now the question is, does this mean I should not plan, I should not prepare, I should not have purposes? No, it's a wrong understanding. You cannot live life without planning and preparing. You must have goals in life, but you should be wise enough in a disciplined manner that yes, I've enrolled for this course to pass the exam. Fine, no problem at all. And now I'm preparing to pass the exam. Fine. But at the time when I'm preparing, don't let that thought of exam come. Because when you are preparing, the thought of the exam takes you from the present to the future. And the moment the mind goes to the future, stress happens. Your discipline has to be, if I am in your place, and I have been in that place for a long time, your discipline has to be to tell the mind, to hell with the exam, I pass or fail, I don't matter. For me, when I go to the ground to play a big critical match, so much of stress, what will come in the newspaper, what will happen to my team, it's a big match. How do I handle? The handle is at one point of time, I say, I have practiced sincerely. Now, whatever happens is okay. The moment I get the thought in the back of the mind, whatever happens is okay. I have done my work. All stress is gone. I play and go a beautiful game, win the match and come back. But how do I discipline the mind to say, this exam is not important, it's okay. मेरे को खाली मेहनत करने दो बस, or nothing else. That is a secret for you. Yeah? Okay, any questions? Sorry, I'm not able to hear.
Capacity to handle.
Yeah.
To handle is less than a direct force. That was the definition you gave. Stress.
Definition of what I gave? Sorry. Stress. Perception. Yeah.
Our whole system is that we are assessing our ability and we are making judgments. We cannot people have to call the expert. So if you are suppose I am not feeling well, I have to go to the doctor. So the perception I have in my mind that I cannot handle this. Everywhere we can see this example. So what should be how to assess our capacity? If we are overconfident, then we can make mistakes. So when you say that this perception gap and that is causing stress, then how do we decide what should be the parameters, what should be the way to have the correct perception?
Okay. If I have understood your question and if I attempt to answer your question, two things are there. This is very similar to the example, can I have an experience without storing at the back of the mind? Okay, because the mind stores on its own, the perception happens on its own. Yeah. The approach to that perception has to be, is that perception factual or not? One, that we are talking about the perception of the mismatch between the demands made upon me and my capacities to handle it. Okay, so when I have that perception of the mismatch and I say, no, I can't handle, okay, now you will have to check up in whichever manner. Okay, is this perception that I'm not able to handle actually factual, or is it coming from normal nature where I am defeatist, I'm negative, and all the time I'd say I'm not able to handle? For that, awareness is necessary. Because the moment you perceive something that, okay, it is creating stress, you should be aware it is creating stress for me. When I do a lot of counseling, when people come and say, okay, I have got these issues, okay, physical issues, I keep the body aside and say, okay, tell me your lifestyle, kya kar raha hai? And the person starts saying, kuch stress nahi hai life mein, kuch stress nahi hai. And then I ask, what's concern? Haan, wo thoda hai, ye thoda hai. I said 6 questions I have asked and all 6 questions are full of stress. And you're saying stress nahi hai. No, you have to have that perception very clearly. One is the perception of the mismatch. Second is, how is your mind responding to that perception? That is the critical factor. You have to catch that response. I mean, is that mismatch looked at my mind and saying, look, now, okay, now I can't handle it. The moment the mind decides I can't handle, these brain subcenters are ready. The hypothalamus, the nervous system, they are very ready. You have to catch the enemy before it enters the door. You have to stop that response which happens of the subcenters. So now that you know, okay, this is how stress happens, next time when you have that mismatch you perceive, you should say, is it factual? If it is factual, take necessary steps. Increase your resources or go away from there. The best way of dealing with stressful situation is to go away from the stressful situation. That's the best way of dealing. But all of us are not privileged to go away from the stressful situation. We'll have to handle it. So the question is, if practical steps are necessary to be taken, if your perception is right of the mismatch, then take the practical steps, no problem at all. Do not allow it to become a mental problem. That is what the perception should stop. Yeah? Okay. Yes, sir.
When a child enters a school, teachers keep on telling them, you do this in the best possible manner.
Yeah.
What is the teacher doing? Trying to make that child go towards perfectionism. And the lesson that we are getting is, don't try to do perfectionism. Perfectionism is going to affect you due to stress. Now this difference, how is the mind going to adjust this difference? Is my question number 1. Question number 2 is very important. Anybody who enters that kind of situation, the boss tells the junior, you have to do so much work. The junior says, how do I do it? He says, you should learn time management is one. I don't know how to manage time management. Then he says, you do multitasking. Are these two things, time management and multitasking, not the generator of stress in that particular person?
Okay. I will answer the second question first. multitasking is logically impossible. The mind can occupy itself with only one thing at one point of time. Ek samayachi ubhaya anavadharanam. Very clear, multitasking is not possible at all. It's a myth. Having said that, we give ourselves a pat on the back that I'm a good multitasker because I do things 1, 2, 3, 4 in quick succession and give the impression as if I've done all together. So in the first place, multitasking is not possible. And if we say my awareness level has to increase, okay, then the first thing is do one thing at a time, do it fully. And doctor, you'll be surprised. When I took this lecture, similar lecture in IIT Mumbai, one professor after the lecture got over and he said, I want to say something. I said, okay, whether a question is coming. He said, no. He says, we have done experiments which says in a limited quantity of time, if you do one thing at a time and do it fully, then move to another time, then move to another task. In a limited quantity of time, you are able to accomplish more things and better quality. Whereas our mind says, when we are doing so many things faster, we don't do anything fully. But we have this, okay, multitasking is, no, multitasking is not necessary. Go one thing at a time, you will do much more in limited time, the quality will start improving more. Fine. When you say the child, okay, the example that you gave is not the problem of the child, it's the problem of the parents. Okay, the parents have to be educated that if you put the pressure on the child to be perfect, first of all, it will never be perfect. Second, it's taking the stress of perfection. Whereas if you tell the child, be better. I think you went out when I said this, perfection is a myth. In real life, perfectibility is a fact. Wherever you are, you can still become perfect, better. Yeah. So the exhortation, the teaching to the child or for any of us is, look, whatever you do is fine, do it in the best manner possible. When you have that sort of thing to the child is so free of the problems. It says, okay, I am acceptable, whatever I do. And then it does so nicely, it does much better. It is much better. So the problem is not of the child. The problem is of we people. And I have spoken to parents also. They say, no, if we don't say this, agar usko 90% nahi mila, तो कॉलेज में एडमिशन नहीं मिलेगा, दूर का कॉलेज मिलेगा, इतना ट्रैवलिंग. I mean, these are all the problems that the parents have taken, and that problem the parents are projecting onto the child and making a mess of the child's life. The parents have to be educated. This is not the way. This is not the way at all. Again, when it comes to time management, okay, I have a totally different take. And that take is, do what you like the most. Automatically time management will start happening. Time management question comes up when there are alternative tasks available and my preferences or predilections for these tasks are differential. Then I have to do task management. I mean, when I was talking on work-life balance, I mean, this is a big, for HR of any corporate life, this work-life balance, they made such a hue and cry of work and life. As if what you're working is very important, okay, and that importance you're forgetting life, or if you give more importance to your life, family life and all, you'll not be able to work. I said, why are you bringing this demarcation between work and life? Make both enjoyable so that balance is automatically established. So probably when you talk about time management, if I talk still more philosophically, then you resign to the fact that you will not be able to fulfill all the aspirations, but whatever you fulfill, you will do it in the best manner possible. That one day it has to dawn upon us. Okay, look, I will not be able to do all the things that I set forth in front of me to do, but whatever I do, I will do it nicely. That is the best way of time management. Okay, I will take just 2 minutes more. The most important thing I want to give. Yeah. Sorry, is it okay? Is it okay? 5 minutes I'll take. Is it okay? With the permission of everyone, I'm taking 5 minutes because this is very crucial for me to speak. Otherwise, I would not have spoken about stress at all. The most effective antidote for stress in yoga, in real life, is your breathing. You'll be shocked. Breathing is the bridge between the body and the mind. What Swamiji just said in his lecture, he was talking about Panchakosha, Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manamaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha. So if you take Pranamaya Kosha, it is in between Annamaya and Manomaya. The Pranamaya Kosha is in between the body and the mind. The breathing, which stands for prana, the most tangible manifestation of prana is the breathing in us. That breathing is in between the body and the mind. Now, when we say it is in between the body and the mind, if I use another language, the breathing is the bridge between the body and the mind. Now, I'm going to an easier circumstance. If even your body is having fever, you can see your breathing is disturbed. The breathing becomes heavy, it becomes hot. Okay? And then your mind says, oh, I'm not well. It goes to the mind. But the most critical thing what we have been dealing today, stress psychosomatic, mark the word psyche and soma. Psyche is the mind, soma is the body. Psychosomatic, from the mind it comes to the body. In yoga, in Indian philosophy, between that mind and the body, there is the breathing. And this is so conveniently neglected. What is this bridge? And what do we do? If there is a problem in the mind, depression, anxiety, suicidal tendency, I either search for a psychiatrist or a counselor or a psychoanalyst. He or she will prescribe some, tranquilizers, antidepressants, sedatives, sleeping pills. I am happy, the person is happy. Okay, एक tablet ले क्या फर्क पड़ रहा है? If from the mind it comes to the body, hypertension, diabetes, there is another doctor, I go to the doctor, take the tablets. In the process, I forget that in between the mind and the body, there is the breathing there. What is this mind breathing there in between? You will be surprised. Every state of your mind is reflected in your breathing pattern. Every state of your mind. When you get angry, the breathing becomes short, erratic, rapid. When you are surprised, you gasp. When you are afraid, you choke. When you are depressed, your exhalation becomes longer. When you sit on the chair or a sofa, you say, you are exhaling, you are sighing. Every state of the mind is reflected in the breathing pattern. This is the most important practical yogic secret. What we do is, we try to control the mind by the mind. And invariably we fail. We cannot control the mind by the mind. People who have attempted to do meditation will know this. When you sit down for meditation, you say, no thought, no thought, no thought, no thought, no thought, no feeling, no emotion, nothing. Yes, nothing will come in the mind. But this no thought becomes a thought. The mind enters through the back door. If you try to control the mind, one mind gets controlled, the other mind comes there. You cannot control the mind by the mind. You get angry, do the damage, resolve, henceforth I will not get angry. In 15 minutes, same stimulus, same anger. Who has got angry? Your mind has got angry. Who is deciding I will not get angry? Mind is deciding. How will the mind control the mind? We always fail. Willpower can take you only a short distance. Willpower cannot be a regular discipline of life. For 5 days, I can use willpower by setting up alarm at 5 o'clock to get up and do yoga practice. 6th day, the mind says, "Arey yaar, kal raat ko late soya tha, aaj thoda sone do." Your willpower will not carry you. In spirituality, when you go higher, as a human being, when you mature, it is not willpower which counts. It is your maturity, your wisdom which counts. So, if your mind tries to control the mind, it is unsuccessful, then yoga says, why are you taking that much trouble? try to control the mind by the breathing. Now, what is this controlling the mind by the breathing? I'm giving you only two. I'm not going to any pranayam techniques. Only two. First one is very simple. Whenever your mind is disturbed, hassled, whether anger, hyperactivity, restlessness, fear, whenever the mind is disturbed, just watch the breathing. You'll be surprised and shocked how powerful this tool is. The moment your mind is disturbed, just watch your breathing. Don't do anything to breathing. Just watch the breathing as a pure spectator. The moment you start watching the breathing without influencing or interfering with it, the disturbed breathing slowly starts becoming normal. The moment breathing becomes normal, there is no disturbance in the mind. This may sound very trivial. No, it is not trivial. This is very crucial. And the second point, our lungs and our heart are working in the ratio 1:4. The lungs are respiration 15 to 20 times per minute. The heart is beating 70 to 80 times per minute. So 20 to 80 is 1:4. If and when you slow down your breathing, instead of 15 times breathing every minute, if you make your inhalation as slow as possible, exhalation as slow as possible. So take, for example, instead of 15, you are coming to 12 respirations. So 20% reduction, 20% slowing down of breathing. The moment your breathing slows down 20%, mathematically, simple arithmetic, your heartbeats slow down 20%. So 16 beats will come down. So the heartbeats will be 64. I'm just making it simple for understanding. The moment your pulse rate comes down, your heart rate comes down, two main involuntary organs working slower, all other involuntary organs start working slower. In science, we say you have got a parasympathetic shift. The moment this shift happens, automatically the mind starts cooling down, getting tranquilized. You will settle down. They made a small, to add value to what I am saying. 20 years back, there were two legends in a tennis court. And two legends of tennis court were personalities in contrast study. One was the flamboyant John McEnroe. About 15, 16 Grand Slams he has won. But he was called as the Brat, the American. Because every time the umpire will give something, he will hit the racket on the ground, he will go and abuse the spectators, he will hit the ball on the stand, absolute expression of emotions. And there was another legend from Sweden, he was called Bjorn Borg. He was called as the Iceman. When these two play against each other, you'll be seeing two totally contrasting personalities. Here there is so much of expression of emotions. Here on the face, no emotion at all. You will not be able to say, looking at his face, whether he's winning or losing, nothing. On one particular day, after 1-2 sets of a Grand Slam final, they just checked up the pulse rate of Bjorn Borg. After 1 or 2 sets of a Grand Slam, they checked up the pulse rate. You'll be shocked to know the pulse rate was 56. Here, if I run 10 meters, I said, the pulse rate starts going up. And this man has played 2 sets, and the pulse rate, if you see his elbows, it's huge. I mean, only when Roger Federer came, or Pete Sampras came, he broke John Borg's 6th Wimbledon title record. But no emotions on the face. Why no emotions? You saw the pulse rate is 56. If the pulse rate is 56, he's breathing maybe 5 or 6 respirations per minute. If breathing is so slow, the mind is totally calm and peaceful. Here is the secret. The secret for stress is, can I make my breathing slow and long? Nothing else. You don't have to do any of the pranayam techniques. You just sit down 10-15 minutes every day and just breathe as slow as possible. And if I use scientific terms, our vital capacity is 1500 cc. And if you check up each one of how much we are breathing 200, 300 cc. You've lost the breathing capacity. When I'm inhaling, my lungs are not even expanding. It's just going this way. It has got the scope for expanding this much. But my lungs are expanding only this much, only this much, only this much. You watch a baby which is 3-6 months old sleeping in front of you. Peacefully sleeping, blissfully sleeping. When you watch the baby's stomach will go up, come down, go up, come down. The baby is doing yogic breathing. Yogic breathing is abdominal breathing. When I breathe in, the air enters from the air pipe, goes to the alveoli, it expands, it goes down, diaphragm goes down, stomach comes out. And if you watch your breathing, as a baby, you're doing the same. But now as grown-up adults, what has happened to your breathing? What has happened is, in the process of growing up, you have become respectable, you have become popular, you have become successful, you have established a status in life. Yes, very good. But what has happened to the internal life? Totally a mess. There is so much of conflict, so much of competition, so much of ambitions. Every time the mind is disturbed, the breathing is disturbed. And we have reached a state where we are not breathing at all. 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening, do not go to any pranayam technique, just do slow breathing. See the difference what happens. Your threshold for taking stress will be greatest if your breathing is slowest. Slow breathing, you breathe slow, this is what happens when you do Shavasana. When you do Shavasana, you have got a parasympathetic shift, breathing slows down. After Shavasana, you get up and try to get angry. You cannot get angry after Shavasana. Why? Because everything settles down, How will you get angry? Your breathing is so very crucial. Pranayam is the most effective antidote. But we don't have to go to so many techniques of pranayam. Just two. All the time. See, there are so many meditation techniques. All meditation techniques make use of breathing. Why? In Vipassana, we directly do Anapanasati. We watch the breathing. Why breathing? Because there are two characteristics of breathing. Very important. One, breathing is always in the present. Whenever your mind is disturbed, watch the breathing, come to the present. The disturbance is by the past or the future. Come to the present, see the breathing. And second, breathing is emotionally neutral. So you cannot watch your breathing and say, I love my breathing. There is nothing to love, nothing to hate. So the mind is not activated at all. Your mind remains still. You can watch the breathing, come to the present moment. This is the best antidote to stress. I will stop. Sorry. Thanks for patient listening. Sorry for taking away your time.
I would like to call upon Dr. Sanjay Kumar to fix it.
रवि फोटो लो.
Thank you so much, sir, for spotlighting how yoga can reduce stress and how we need to manage it. It was such an eye-opening speech for all of us about how stress and how we can need to reduce and manage it.
Swamiji, thank you so much. Sure.
Yes, now everyone, lunch is ready, so you can stand up and have your lunch. Yes, please you should stand up.
Question? हाँ बोलो. उद्देश्य बहुत जरूरी है. इफ उद्देश्य नहीं होगा तो आप भटकते रहेंगे इधर उधर. सी हठ योगा में वन ऑफ द बाधक तत्व इज लवलियम. लवलियम means wavering nature of mind. आज ये किया, कल वो किया, कल वो किया, टाइम निकल जाएगा. You must have उद्देश्य. You can have short term, long term, very long term life का उद्देश्य, but you must have उद्देश्य. वो उद्देश्य का प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, गलत उद्देश्य उसका प्रॉब्लम है. उद्देश्य का कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं हो, गलत उद्देश्य है.
Is there any other question?
If not, we can go for lunch. Thank you very much, all of you. My best wishes to all of you.
After lunch, we will again sit down for another lecture.